No hell had broken loose when former Chief Justice of India K.G. Balakrishnan attended an iftar party thrown by the former Prime Minister of India Manmohan Singh. It was considered cool. It was also considered as secular. It was also considered as an act of bonhomie between the executive and the judiciary, which in turn strengthened the secular fiber of this country. Why? Because Prime Minister Manmohan Singh himself belonged to a religious group, minority one, Sikhism, and the party which he had thrown was for the people who belonged to another so called minority group called Islam. And thus, it was to be hailed by everybody. No one murmured a word of protest against such a party thrown by the Prime Minister. A similar act, my dear friends, a similar act has kicked up a storm today. I am Shivcharan Singh. I welcome you to this particular session of my video where I will discuss why secular fiber is in danger as alleged by the secular crooks of the country today. Simply because Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited present Chief Justice of India D.Y. Chandrachud's house, but it was not considered cool. Nobody called it as secular. Everybody is trying to, you can say, demean it, abuse it with their choicest vituperatives, because this very act of Prime Minister's visit to D.Y. Chandrachud's house has jeopardized the democratic and secular fiber of this country. What is the reason? The visit of Prime Minister to Chandrachud's house was not an ordinary one. It was neither informal nor formal. Even when it was informal, it aimed at a particular event. What was that event? Of course, I am not going to compare the particular event or the festival with something called iftar. Of course not. But it has kicked up a storm, and thousands of eyebrows have raised against this particular bonhomie between the executive and the judiciary, simply because Modi attended the family Ganesh Puja of Justice D.Y. Chandrachud, and now he has become the epicenter of criticism by the secular crooks, because he has dismantled secularism of the country. Every Tom, Dicky, Harry gang member of this secular crooks gang or brigade is accusing the Prime Minister of jeopardizing the secular fiber of this country. And of course, nothing can be more unfortunate than this particular thing. Now, every particular crook belonging to the secular gang is trying to teach a lesson or two about how judiciary should be kept away from everything else. Why do you forget? The prime purpose of each of the so-called four pillars of this country is to ensure that the country runs peacefully and justice is never delayed and it is always delivered. How come? How come a personal visit of the Prime Minister to the Chief Justice of India's house is going to jeopardize democracy and secularism? It's not that. Of course, everybody knows it. That is why in the beginning itself I said that when Balakrishnan was invited to an iftar party hosted by Manmohan Singh, There was nothing like that. Nobody even talked about this. The photograph of that particular event is available. Of course, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is photo savvy, video savvy. He likes to highlight everything where he is. And of course, wherever he is attention savvy. But that apart, in fact, every Tom, Dicky, Harry, when I say every Tom, Dicky, Harry, I was listening to a particular, I was watching a particular YouTube video where a so called journalist Neelu Vyas was interviewing a former judge of Patna High Court, somebody called Anjana Prakash. And in fact, she was exercising some or the other type of restraint in her speech. But Neelu Vyas, she was provoking her like anything. She was in fact using vituperatives herself. In fact, she used a word called gate crash. The Prime Minister must have reached DY Chandrachud's house uninvited. I mean, what are they talking about? In fact, Anjana Prakash was just trying to correct her. Don't use such words as gate crash, because people like Chandrachud and Narendra Modi, their programs are scheduled by not by them only. It's not just like that a friend is calling another one and then they are just going to meet at chapati. It was not like that. They are dignitaries whose programs are fixed. So, means I'm just surprised that Neelu Vyas's question, gate crash. What nonsense is this? And there are other people, and why should I name a couple of them? Because Neelu Vyas was interviewing a former judge of Patna High Court, retired one, Anjana Prakash, and she was talking all nonsense. She was talking about some kind of Bangalore code of conduct for the judges. I mean, of course, when you talk like this, you must be aware that you are raising your voice when it's a Hindu Prime Minister visiting a Hindu Chief Justice, and when the same equation changes into a Hindu into Muslim and a Sikh into Muslim, then you are keeping your mum, because you know when to speak, how much to speak, and how to keep yourself restrained. Because in this country, and now why are they crying horse, crying foul? Because they in fact they claim that this country is a secular country which was started and founded in 1947 by a biggest secular called Nehru. And that's why if anybody is going to dismantle this fabric of secularism, he must be guilty of a crime of lowest or the highest order. And we know it very, very, very well. You know, I have a very clear cut opinion of mine. All right, even when the Prime Minister is taking this opportunity as a photo op, it's all right, fine. He is the Prime Minister and he is also in, you can say, leader of a political party. But when he is visiting Chandrachud, he is visiting as the Prime Minister. And when Chandrachud is meeting the Prime Minister, he is also meeting the Prime Minister, not Narendra Modi of Janata Party. Had it been so, had the President of Bharatiya Janata Party visited Chandrachud and shared the photograph, then it would have made some sense when people would have been started talking about this. But criticizing such an act is something which is, and then they also make a claim that India is a country under a dictator. Is this an act of dictatorship when everybody is abusing and criticizing the dictator? Not at all. And fine, I'm just simply giving you this example of Manmohan Singh, Balakrishnan, and Chandrachud and Manmohan Singh to show that there were many occasions in the past when such things were happening and nobody was talking about this. Because in this country, talking against Islam, talking against Quran, Pagambar, Prophet, and the Muslims is considered a big taboo, and same taboo is manifest today when the people are talking like anything. They are using their choicest vituperatives against Narendra Modi. And I mean simply this, that if you are such a coward that you choose the opportunity And you are okay in the same way. Nobody, I just went through a couple of YouTube videos where the people were criticizing Manmohan Singh, Narendra Modi. Nobody mentioned Manmohan Singh and KG Balakrishnan's event. Nobody mentioned it. And what else they are talking? In fact, the interview which I went through for the whole session between Nilu Vyas and Anjana Prakash, former judge of Patna High Court, she was using a bit of restraint and always trying to make strike a balance when Nilu Vyas was provoking her. In fact, she said that she had nothing against Modi visiting Chandrachud had it not been for the Modi to showcase it as an opportunity to use it politically later on because Maharashtra elections are around the corner. That's fine. But I'm simply saying one thing, be it an opportunity of political mileage or whatever. Why are you talking about this event as if it has created a big havoc? Simply because our, mental slavery has not gone away. I mean, had you been balanced, you would have been talking about events like Iftar, which was thrown by every chief minister of the, in the past years, just before Narendra Modi. Be it the prime minister or the chief ministers of the states, everybody was throwing and everybody else was being invited to it also. Then nobody spoke against it. Nobody was against it. They, in fact, held it. I was working in the newspaper, and in fact, I always try to distance myself from reporting or covering such an event. But I was witness to such events being reported in English newspapers in particular. Why? Because pleasing the Muslim minorities, pleasing the Christian minority was considered to be an act of building blocks of secularism and democracy. This mentality. And when it comes to, it's not about Modi and Chandrachud, it's about Christianity and Islam being exposed. When the country is, it's a kind of revenge against the Indian populace, which is, waking up in the event of a damage which has already been done to the country. A large chunk of Indian population has been converted into Christianity, and even larger chunk of Indian population has been converted into Islamist Muslims. And this damage apart, the same is going on with an unprecedented speed even now. And they are a threat to the country. When this threat is being talked in the loudest voice today, they are looking for an opportunity when they can combat it. And this particular event, when the head of the judiciary and head of the executive are meeting, they are just having a kind of bonhomie. Then this bonhomie is denigrated as something like a bombshell against democratic secular fiber of the country. And that is where I take exception. Why? Had India been a Hindu country, had Bharat been, right from 1947, just forget about the previous years because it was, of course, a struggling nation. We were a struggling nation against Mughals, against English, and we are still a struggling nation because we are carrying on the burden of the burden in the form of the legacy of the British. So, what nonsense is this? It's nothing against Modi and Chandrachud, it's just against the Hinduism, Hindutva, because it's a Hindu festival. And if a prime minister visits a chief justice on such an occasion, then of course it is going to dismantle secular fiber of the country, and secular crooks must cry foul over it. That's the only reason. Otherwise, there is no other reason I find into this. Had there been a kind of acceptability, had Narendra Modi also been throwing iftar parties right from 2014 till now, and then he would have been attending a kind of a Hindu festival also, then everybody would have been pleased. Since Modi has stopped such nonsense of wearing the skull cap of the Muslims, he has stopped throwing iftar parties, and all the BJP chief ministers have also stopped in the same way. And what's more, Himanta Biswa Sharma, Yogi Adityanath, and even in the Madhya Pradesh and where else? And Rajasthan, the chief ministers have started talking about the atrocities of Islam and Christianity, then the problem is there. That's why these people are crying hoarse and foul. Otherwise, it would have been okay. They would have considered it just an event, just one of the passing events. This opportunity was, I think, deliberately, intentionally given by Modi. Fine, I appreciate it. Because at times we just tend to forget that now the secular breed is secular brigade is either sleeping or it has mended its way. No, 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 no. A disease which has spanned for over 75 years is not going to die or get cured as soon. It has to persist. And that is why I say, let it be cured forever. In fact, it's my instant reaction to a, you can say, barrage of videos and you can say posts on Facebook, on X, and everywhere else. Because if secular crooks can cry foul, we can also show their naked faces. Of course, I throw a challenge to the secular brigades. Will you discuss Bible or will you discuss Quran in the open? You will say it's a question that does not fit the occasion. No, 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 it fits very well to the occasion. This is the reason. Since we have started speaking against Quran, Christianity, and we have also started talking about the past misdeeds, atrocities, and cruelties of these two, and particularly Islam, this is the reason why the secular crooks have started, you can say, raising questions, raising their eyebrows. And we took them for some kind of, oh, they have slept now. No. BJP getting 240 seats gave them a new lease of life, and that's why they think it's time. They must reorganize themselves, strengthen themselves for the times to come when they can see the fall of a party for the namesake only, which is representing the Hindu. In fact, why I consider, though I know BJP is not the Hindu party, BJP is not going to speak or do anything for the Hindus, but even for the namesake, just like RSS, if BJP is acting on behalf of the Hindus, we must hail the acts of Modi of the types which he exhibited today. And that's fine, that's cool. I don't say it's cool because it is going to strengthen the secular fiber of this country. No, 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 no. To me, the very word secular and secularism are misfit, misnomer, and they are damaging and they are dismantling the cultural fiber of our country. And that's why when I see an act of the Prime Minister aimed at strengthening the cultural fiber of this country, I hail it as cool. I hail it as a bonhomie between the two heads, I mean, the heads of the executive and the judiciary, strengthening the cultural fiber of this country. For now, in this video, it's this much. Thank you very much.